Here's my impression of every automotive journalist out there. Oh my God, the Porsche 911 is the best car ever. Here's my impression of me after driving it. Oh my God, they're right! This car's the best! All right, oomsa, compose yourself and enter the domain of the 2022 Porsche 911 GTS Targa. My favorite 911, my favorite Porsche trim in general is the GTS. It is the best one. It's the one that lives kind of in the middle. It's better than a base. It's not quite as insane as the top tier stuff. And it's usually offered at a price that makes a bit more sense and lives closer to a reality that maybe someday I'll be able to afford. Maybe, probably not, but you never know. The GTS Targa combines two of my favorite Porsches. The Targa is my favorite 911 because I don't like convertibles, but I like this. It reminds me of my old Z31. I had a Nissan 300ZX for about 2 years, and it had T-tops, and T-tops rule. But again, tall guys typically don't like convertibles, but German cars are typically geared towards tall guys. This Targa is the best of both worlds, and I really like it. But let's talk specifically about what makes this car awesome. So the GTS borrows some things from the bottom and some things from the top. It has a few exterior trim pieces that help it stand out. Some of it is blacked out. And then you get the wheels from the Turbo S, 20-inch front, 21-inch rear, and their center locks, which is bananas. You've got bigger brakes. You've got the suspension system from the higher trim cars, though on the Targa specifically you don't get that, and I think that's due to the added weight of the top. But on the coupe and convertible, you get juiced up a little bit where the car sits a bit lower, and then it even gets helper springs out back to really just increase its dynamic stability and ability. But I'm okay with just whatever suspension setup this one has because it's quite fine and dandy. On the inside, this car specifically, this one is spec'd with a gorgeous truffle brown leather interior. You've got some Alcantara thrown in. And then on the gearbox, this one is the 7-speed, which yes, you can get a manual in this one. This one is a 7-speed, and it gets really tight, precise short throws from a higher spec car. I think there's some GT3 bits in the shifter here. If you want, you can get this with the 8-speed PDK, and that's not an incorrect choice because the PDK is one of the best gearboxes out there. But this manual feels great, the clutch feels great, it all feels great. So power-wise, we've got 30 more horse and 30 more torque than a lesser 911, the Carrera. This has a 3-liter twin turbocharged flat 6 engine that makes 473 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, and it sounds amazing. Redline's at 7,500 RPM, and it loves climbing there and then shifting and ripping to the next gear and going. The combination on this car is awesome. I said GTS, favorite trim, Targa, favorite 911 body style, and then you pair that with the I can't pronounce this correctly, but the aventurine green metallic exterior paint with the aforementioned truffle brown leather interior, and whoever ordered this one at Porsche HQ, hats off, because the color combo is perfect. Perfect. It has black wheels. I actually think it would look really cool if you can't do this, but it's not an option, but if it could have white wheels against the green exterior and brown interior, I think that would look sickness. But as it sits, if I had the money to play in this space, I would go paint to sample just to make mine a little bit different. I would get green. It just wouldn't be this green, but this green is fantastic. I would try to order maybe an Irish green or even something darker. I'm not sure. Not that I'm speccing one of these. But if we're talking about speccing, we got to talk about price. Now, the coupe version of the GTS, I believe, starts right around $138,000, $139,000. And that's great. That's a great place for it to be. And it is the most pure GTS experience, especially if you toss the lightweight package at it. Because you get that aforementioned suspension, you get the helper springs out back, it sits a little bit lower, you know, all that stuff. Any GTS you get, Sport Chrono comes standard. You get the nice easy drive mode selector here on the steering wheel. I like running this in Sport Plus individual, so everything is set to Sport Plus, and then I back the suspension off to, you know, the normal setting. And just because I'm an old man who likes a cushier ride. As soon as you get into twisties, just click it back one and you're in full Sport Plus. But the exhaust is opened up, and you know, it's all good. It is all good. With the coupe and convertibles, you can also choose between rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, whereas the Targa is only all-wheel drive. So I can live with that. I'm not upset with that. It's a rear bias system anyway. I'm having a plenty of fun. But I said I was going to talk about price. Coupe, $38. Then you climb, you know, coupe convertible rear-wheel drive, coupe convertible all-wheel drive, and when you land at convertible all-wheel drive, you land at the doorstep of the only way you can spec it, Targa, which is $158, $157, $158. This one, as tested, hold your breaths, is $175,000. And that is bumping into what used to be Turbo S territory a few years ago. Now, I built one of these online and I selected paint to sample, and when I was done tallying my up, I was at $212,000. I'm swearing a lot because this car excites me. That's way too much money, and it kind of goes against what the GTS is all about. So if you want the purest GTS experience, like I said, get a coupe, toss some at it, but don't go crazy, and there you go. Rear-wheel drive coupe manual GTS would probably just be a wicked machine for if you could keep it under 150, perfect. Perfectly spec 911. But like I said, this Targa is something goddamn wonderful. It is absolutely friggin' wonderful, and I love it. And yeah, the PDK, like if you've chosen that, you haven't made a wrong choice, but this manual gearbox is sublime. It auto bliffs on downshifts, which you can turn off if you're a fancy fella or sister who can shift it your own and do what you want to do. And there's even more options you could select on these to just, I mean, if you keep GTS's priced close to their base price of the given trim, you're doing it really well. And that's the problem with Porsche, though, is you start throwing at it, you get real happy, and you go insane. You shouldn't pay over $200 for this car. If you do, you've done it wrong. I really, really love this car. It's insanely comfortable. It drives as good as you can expect. Even with the Targa roof, which adds weight and complexity, it's still an amazing driving experience. It is absolutely wonderful. It sounds good. It looks fantastic. It's just super expensive. But, I mean, there should be a barrier to entry on these because they're special things, right? But it just pains me that I can't afford one right now, and it's going to be a long time before I might ever be able to even do that, but this isn't the space I play in. I love everything about this car. GTS Targa, manual gearbox, green exterior, brown interior. It's literally like they asked me, hey, if we wanted to build one, how should we build it? And then I didn't answer. They just go, blip, because they have a Porsche mind-reading machine. And I was like, what just happened? And I woke up in a field and the car was next to me fully spec'd. Like that's how this car was created. I'm convinced of it. I love it. I love it. I want to go on a very long road trip with it and maybe disappear with the keys. But I'm sure it's tracked and I can't do that. If they have mind-reading machines, of course they could track the car. You know, let's be serious. But for now, take a corner, drop a gear, disappear.